Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Logan, and today we're going to be taking a look at a pair of Fluance's own powered all-in-one stereo speakers, the Ai61s. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, then stick around and we'll get into it right after the intro. Alright, so as I mentioned, today we're going to be checking out the Fluance Ai61s, which are actually the first speakers that we've reviewed from Fluance, who are based in Canada. And really quick, we just want to give them a big thanks for sending these speakers over to us so we could check them out here in this review. Either way, the $299 Ai61s are just one of the few different powered speaker systems that Fluance offers on their website, coming in between the smaller Ai41s and their big Fi70 three-way powered speaker. And as you can see here, these are a pair of rear-ported two-way bookshelf speakers, each with their own 6.5-inch woven glass fiber cone woofer paired with a 1-inch silk dome tweeter. Each speaker is powered by a 60-watt RMS Class D amplifier, and both amps are actually inside the right channel speaker, while the left channel speaker is just a passive box, so you don't actually need to have separate amps to run these little speakers. On the back, the Ai61s also have a built-in Bluetooth receiver which can connect to most mobile devices wirelessly and high-end MP3 players with built-in Bluetooth. We also have a pair of RCA stereo inputs, a Toslink input, USB Type-C for connecting these speakers to a computer, as well as an RCA subwoofer out for hooking up something like Fluance's DB12 12-inch subwoofer. Of course, we also have binding posts for connecting the left speaker and an AC input along with a power switch. All of these factors combine to give us a frequency response of 32 Hz to 20 kHz, though it is worth noting that Fluance does make use of an included DSP to help reach that wide of a response. And personally, I really love the white bamboo finish that these speakers came in. I think the contrast between the front baffle and each driver is really nice, but they also do offer a few other finishes like a black and white walnut, as well as black ash depending on your space and preferences. Inside the box, you'll also get a power cord, an infrared remote that takes two AAA batteries, and a little red and black cord for connecting the passive speaker to the active speaker. We're not really impressed with this cable though. It's a pretty flimsy wire, and for whatever reason they decided to tin the ends of each wire with solder, which means that the binding posts won't grip onto the wire as well as they could if they weren't soldered. We would probably recommend buying a pre-made cable with banana plugs installed on it instead and just using that. But with all that out of the way, it was time to actually start testing these speakers, and we thought since they're a relatively compact set of active bookshelf speakers, they'd actually play really well on a computer desk using them as near-field monitors. So we tried that to see how they played at lower volumes for things like movies and games, and personally I have to say, after we had a little while to test, we were really impressed with the results. First impressions were actually pretty good. The Fluance speakers delivered clear, intelligible dialogue even when gaming or watching YouTube videos at slightly lower volumes, and overall the mid-range was pretty clear without being shrill or harsh. But of course, to really get a taste of what these were capable of, we had to bring them out into a larger space, which is why we went ahead and set these up in our living room to get a taste of how they might perform in a typical area. And after listening to them, if we did have anything to complain about, it would probably end up being the bass. Obviously, being small speakers with not very large drivers, they did sound kind of thin in some tracks, but of course there's only so much you can do with a 6.5-inch woofer. You really can't expect a whole lot. If bass is an issue, like I mentioned, these have a subwoofer pre-out on the back, so you can add a subwoofer to these speakers without the need for a receiver or any kind of added hardware. Overall, I feel that these speakers have a very neutral tone to them in a way that almost made them a little boring to listen to. I wouldn't say they sounded bad by any means, absolutely not, but they also didn't have the ability to deliver that sort of emotional, enveloping sound that you might get from some better speakers. It is worth mentioning here that the included remote control also has tone adjustments, so you can adjust the bass and treble between plus and minus 5 dB, which is a really nice addition if you want to warm up the speakers for your space, or maybe they sound a little bit dull and you want to brighten them up, just depending on what kind of sound you like. The built-in DAC also did a pretty good job through Bluetooth, and obviously these sound great compared to most cheap Bluetooth speakers, and both the USB and Toslink also sounded just fine with regular PCM stereo running from a Windows computer. The speakers should also work fine on a Mac, and the USB Type-C connection means that you won't need an extra adapter to get them working properly. I'd say that these speakers do a really good job positioning themselves above something like a soundbar in terms of both price and sound quality, and they definitely sound better than most soundbars for music and dialogue, and they're almost just as convenient and easy to use. With that said, we're still talking about a pretty affordable pair of speakers, and you can't really expect them to compete with separate speakers and a receiver or amplifier. Either way, Fluance clearly put a lot of thought into the design of these speakers, and it's nice to see that for a budget pair of active speakers, they do pretty much everything right without adding a bunch of extra features that get in the way of a good experience. The Ai61s had pretty much everything that we were looking for in an affordable pair of powered bookshelf speakers overall, and I think I can honestly say that you should keep the Fluance Ai61 powered bookshelf speakers on your short list if you're in the market for some kind of a lower cost, compact, 2-channel stereo listening setup. And with all that said, I think it's just about time to wrap up this video. So guys, I want to give you a big thanks for watching, and let us know if something like these Fluance speakers might find a place in your setup sometime in the near future. If you thought this video was helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss any of our future content. And as always, have an awesome day.